In the wrestling world, the people are represented by two separate but unequally important groups. The wrestlers and bookers, who literally do all the hard work, and the fans, who endlessly nitpick and overanalyze everything they do. These are their stories. Welcome to Raw and Order, the Wrestling Booking Unit, the only wrestling podcast on the planet bringing you fake real crimes, or is it real fake crimes in the world of professional wrestling every week. I am your host, Detective Mark Smarks, and I am joined, as always, by my partners in crime fighting. Starting off, District Attorney Vincent Kayfabe. What's going on, man? How are you?
Scanmyboob.com.
Yeah, we still haven't registered it.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate. Anyway, no, I'm doing great, man. It's been a great week.
Yeah, it's been a week.
Yeah. I rammed a page.
Yeah.
And enjoyed some wrestling on Friday night.
Yes, it's been a good week, and we'll get into all of that. But first,
I've enjoyed 1/3 of wrestling on Friday night,
and then we'll get into all of that. I'll also introduce our other co-host, JLB from up north. What's going on, man? How are you?
It goes good, sir. It goes good. Definitely am excited to talk about this week. A lot of wrestling, so a lot of good, a lot of bad, a lot of ugly. And a little bit of everything. So I'm stoked.
So when we get into the talking about it, I'm going to be up front here. I'm going to maybe let you guys talk about the bad, because I'm going to try to keep it positive this week. Because, frankly, I've been a little stoked in this last 5 days of wrestling. We're not going to talk about Monday, because Monday sucks.
Yeah.
But, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and even a little bit of what, anything that went on today was pretty decent and all around. So, but we'll get into all of that. Before we do, though, I'd like to remind everyone that Raw and Order is part of the Tatnus Co. podcast network. So if you enjoy this show, you can head over to tatnusco.com. Link is going to be in the doobly-doos. For access to all the other shows on the network. Learn more about Tatnus as well there. And then come back for our fantasy booking every Tuesday. But we do these live streams Sunday nights and Tuesday nights at 10:30 Central. It's a little late. We understand. Not everyone's going to stay up to do it. But if you have a chance, come join us on our live streams, YouTube and Facebook. You can find us Raw and Order WBU. We'd love to see you on there. Otherwise, they're going to be up for replay. And you can also still listen to them podcast-wise, just like you always did before. So, but yeah, we're going to go ahead and get into talking about this week in wrestling. And because I said I'm going to try to keep it positive, I can let you guys go first with the negative if you want to get it out of the way. I'm assuming we've got some negative coming from you guys.
I can totally pull this off.
Okay.
First of all, why is there so much wrestling in a week that JLB has to wait till Sunday night right before the podcast to poop?
Yeah. It's like,
when you gotta go, you gotta go.
We got no pre-show with JLB. Of course, we didn't get very much with me or Smarks, because Smarks sent it out about 8 minutes before it started.
Yeah, it was running a little bit late. I was doing
way to give our secrets. Way to give our secrets.
It's all right. Hey, he had to give away our secrets. What was it, Tuesday? Or 2 Tuesdays ago, when he had to talk for 15 minutes before I was able to get on because somebody was
who's right below me here, right there. I feel like I'm in the Brady Bunch intro and looking down, right there.
Hey man, this going to actual physical school is kicking my ass. Like from physical school, I'm still working from home, but then I gotta rush home. I work literally. I get home 15 minutes before. I was a lazy bastard during COVID, so it's really kicking me in the keister, that's for sure.
But it's college, so you can break some rules in college. I mean, you can show up late to the back of the class.
Oh, I mean, I can, but I mean, it's more just coming home and going to work. At work, I can't show up late, so
No,
just
no.
an exhausting week. But it is what it is. It's got to get done. No one's here to hear my misery. They're here to hear about crimes, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right, crimes.
An
So
exhausting week, says the person who doesn't have children.
This is why I don't have children, because I think I would just be dead.
no,
I'm
that's
pretty
the
sure,
reason.
I'm pretty sure there's another reason you don't have children.
Speaking of children, my son actually pointed out that I have an extension on my mic, which is really cool. I didn't know that.
Very cool.
Huh,
Wow.
Yeah.
Make a little
Yeah.
And
My
that is why you
8-year-old
have kids, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, so I can figure out technology. Hey, will you program my VCR real quick? Dad, what's a VCR? Anyway. So I do actually have a crime. This has been a frustration of mine in past feuds. It's also part of the reason I so heavily enjoyed the Fiend versus John Cena at WrestleMania. Anytime you double up a feud, which every week Smark sends us, well, not every week, but most weeks Smark sends us a breakdown of the number of rematches that have occurred on each individual show. And those are rematches that have occurred within the last 6 months, correct?
Something like that, yeah. I mean,
Something like that.
Sometimes
So-
it's just as little as 90 days, but it's still.
Yeah, it's a reasonable, a close amount of time. When you have a feud that's building, that's happened in the past, we saw WWE do this really, really well with finally Kofi looking at Randy and saying, "Stupid, stupid, stupid." When you have that, you have to throw back to especially a great line in that. Now we've got one more week before I can say this didn't happen. But at some point, if you're going to have John Cena versus Roman Reigns, we are 3 face-to-face confrontations into this, and we have yet to hear. It's called a promo, son. You're going to be the big dog. You're going to have to learn how to do one. And I'm sorry, that is the best feud line that those two have ever had. And it was early in Roman's career while he's still, I mean, it was for WWE title when Cena was like a regular, like a guy who was actually there. So that frustration, this is the one that's going on right now, but it's happened in other places. And I feel like it needs to happen more often, especially with these longer term throwbacks, these things that mattered 6 years ago, and now they're back. We saw a little bit of it with Edge and Orton, but not nearly as well as it could have been done. If you're going to have those feuds, you must reference their past. That's all I got. That's the crime for this one.
I mean, they don't do it, but they did it for obviously Edge and Seth, right? That's kind of based. They mentioned their past. They made it work, I guess. You
They
can't
didn't really
use-
have a past, though. I mean, their past is the last 6 months. They don't have a past that pushes way back those several
2014.
years.
2014. They made it a whole thing where 2014, it was something along the lines of in 2014, you had beaten me and then you had always wanted to be like me, blah, blah, blah. So it's not just Royal Rumble 2019. I think they even mentioned the year before that, Edge actually also eliminated Seth Rollins during that Rumble. So there's been like a little past, and I forgot.
Yeah, a little recent. The 2014, I still don't know what it is because Edge retired in 2011.
Maybe it wasn't 24. Maybe I'm getting my years messed up.
Yeah.
And Seth wasn't
Smart.
there until after 2011.
Yeah. So in the grand scheme of things, they can't have a whole lot of Edge versus Seth history stuff because most of
It
the
wasn't
time
there.
Edge that Seth was there, Edge wasn't. So
Mm-hmm.
now the only reason that I am prepared to give them a little bit of pass on it's called the promo kid is because that was when John Cena was a part-timer. And part of that whole feud was that Roman Reigns was like, I'm a full-timer, you're just a part-timer. And John Cena was like, I'd rather be a part-timer. I can carry this company as a part-time better than you can full-time, or whatever.
Was John Cena already part-time at that
He
point?
was already part-time. That was part of the, I could read the whole promo to you.
Yeah, it was 2016, so
2017.
17? Okay.
Yep.
So, it's more than a couple years old. That's...
But yeah, it was, looks like it was August 29th, 2017. So, almost
4 years.
4 years ago. So,
Yeah.
But one of it is part of why I can understand them not wanting to reference it too much is it really was in many ways a low point in the Roman Reigns push. Like it really exposed Roman Reigns for not being prepared to be the dog.
I think it's a good push back. I think having, Cena, you're a professional actor now, so now act like you messed up your lines. And Roman can look at you and say, it's called a promo, kid. If you want to be on my show, you're going to have to learn how to cut one.
Yeah. And so I think WWE might not want to
remind us
of Roman's failures in the past as much right now. And I'm just giving him a little bit of a pass on it. That's much. Because I can understand they don't want to remind us of the fact that it wasn't that long ago, just 4 years, that we did not like Roman Reigns at all. And Roman Reigns was trying to be the babyface and fucking sucking at it.
I think it's fine if you remind us of that, because that's why he went heel. Because fans suck and they're horrible, and right here in West Newbury, Massachusetts, you guys suck. I only said that because that's where Cena's from. I don't even know where they're wrestling at next weekend. Right here in Phoenix, Arizona, you guys have shit all over me. That's where they're at next weekend. So I would like to see, tying those threads together has worked very, very well in the past for both WWE, for WCW, for AEW currently is doing a great job of tying long-term threads together. And the fantastic part for AEW is they're throwing random people they didn't know 6 months into this fabric and making it work. But when you have a marquee event, if you don't tie those threads together, your audience remembers. Your audience posts things. They go back and find those videos on YouTube. Yeah, that's just the other piece.
Yeah. I gotta be honest, I think so much of this is WWE not being the long-term booking that we'd like. I honestly don't think WWE remembers what happened back in 2017.
I don't know.
Right now.
I don't know how you couldn't. Like that promo, that line made me go, oh, I gotta watch this. Like that one line was like, oh yeah, burn. Like I felt like Kelso.
You can't even do that now, though, because he's great with his promo skills. I thought that promo on SmackDown was top notch. I enjoyed it.
Oh,
The Nikki Bella slander, the halftime, the missionary thing again. Those two worked so well together. I would have maybe appreciated Cena not saying 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 every 5 seconds, but it worked. It worked. It was probably the best part of SmackDown, to be honest with you. That was fun.
No, it does work, and that's what makes it work, is that they threw in the Nikki Bella thing. They threw in some history there.
Dean Ambrose.
You can say,
oh my god.
You can say you've been gone. Oh, well, you're off making movies, so now you can't talk now you can't move on your feet. It's called a promo, kid. Just because they didn't script it for you doesn't mean you don't know how to talk.
Yeah, valid. Which apparently
something which can dog both directions.
And also, too, it's been reported that Roman Reigns has actually been doing his own stuff for the past year. It not scripted at all. So for Cena to say that, and then for the Dirt Sheet fans to read into that, be kind of like, but bro, he's been doing it, and we've loved the unscripted Roman. I guess since he's been unscripted and heel, he's been epic. So Cena can't really divulge into that. Say, it's called the promo, kid. I know. I've been doing it for a year. What's up? You know?
Yeah. I just think I don't want Cena to say it. I want Roman to say it back to him.
Oh, okay. I'd be like, that'd be a good stinger for sure.
Yeah, much like Kofi looked at Randy and said, "Stupid, stupid, stupid."
But I just think here's the deal: is we know WWE has not been good at long-term booking. They don't
for a while now. Yeah,
for a while they just don't think of it. In opposition, AEW has been so good at long-term booking that they long-term booked the fans with the Hangman Page thing. So the news came out this week that Hangman Page was always booked to lose against Kenny Omega the other week. Always. That was always the plan. And then it was always the plan for the Elite to then beat up Hangman Page and put him out of action. Because Hangman Page, of course, his wife, I think he's married, fiance, girlfriend, is expecting. Significant other. Yeah, is expecting. And so the plan has been for a long time for him to lose there and take time off so that he can be there for the impending arrival of their child. And then come back later. But because us, and I'll be the first to admit I'm one of them, we're all so dead set on this is it. This is when they finally put the belt on Hangman. We totally got thrown for a loop when he lost, and we're like, oh, what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
And this is all gonna play out in a few months when he comes back after he's had his kid and had his time off and all that stuff. He comes back. He's gonna come back. He's gonna be fired up. He's gonna go straight after whoever's the champion at the time. I'm betting it'll still be Kenny Omega.
You don't think Christian's winning?
I don't think Christian.
Not the AEW title.
Not the AEW title. No. I think.
I don't know how this guy's still going on, man. We've heard reports months ago that he wasn't. He was injured and he was tired. I'm still surprised this guy's still kicking it.
Yeah. Not only is he still going on, he went freaking back-to-back nights. Wrestled on Rampage and then Triple Mania down there. I mean, he just fucking went back to back, and so. But yeah, no, we've heard that he's been injured and everything. But what I bet's gonna happen is, he's gonna win. But now he's only a double champion, right?
Correct. Right.
Because he's only got the AAA Mega Championship and the AEW Championship now. And I'm still betting he loses the AAA title soon. I just bet he loses it on AEW show, not on Triple Mania. I think that's going to be the plan.
I'm surprised they had the Impact title change hands on AEW. I'm sure that was an agreement with D'Amore already.
Yeah, I mean he was even there. You know, he came out to celebrate, and I think the concept is simply this. Right now, AEW gets more viewers than Impact. So if we have the AEW title change, or the Impact title change hands on to AEW, right? Maybe you'll get some viewers from AEW who decide to follow the championship over to see what happens.
And that's legit. I mean,
and that's legitimately something that could happen as long as they have Access TV on their cable package, which is not a given.
Is it on Twitch? It's still on Twitch too, right?
No. They announced last week that they were taking it off of Twitch. They're no longer going to be simulcasting on Twitch because
YouTube?
they're doing you can subscribe to them on YouTube, or what's the word? YouTube's got a new feature. It's more than just subscribing. It's
like you have to pay. It's like
you can be a member. You can have a membership on YouTube. And so if you are a member on YouTube, you get to watch it on YouTube.
Okay.
But again, it's not free. And so it took away a free way to watch it and it's trying to replace it with a paid way to watch it, which a fair amount of people aren't going to do. So so I think I don't know how many people relied on the Twitch stream. Numbers aren't out there on that. But it is kind of a shame that they took a free way to view it and got rid of it and replaced it with a second paid way. Which I point out, it's a second paid way because they've got Impact Plus, which while you can't watch it live on Impact Plus, they do get eventually posted on Impact Plus. And so they want you to subscribe to Impact Plus and subscribe or whatever membership to them on YouTube. But anyway.
I will say Impact does have the best Instagram game of all of them.
Their social media game is really well done. AEW's getting better recently, but it's not up there just yet. WWE's social game, they were pretty darn
really good for a while,
and now they're they the other day. Their Facebook page, I gotta go to it because it cracked me up when I saw it. Because their Facebook page was like, "Hey, check out this match from, this free match from just a few years ago," and it was a person who was at their YouTube channel. Might have been their YouTube channel. It was someone who is no longer with WWE versus someone who's now with another company, I think, if I'm remembering it correctly.
Yeah, there was. I think it was.
WWE did that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Full match.
I think it was.
Let's see. They've been doing a lot of the John Cena ones, so I've got to get past there. Where was it? It wasn't Rob Van Dam versus Cesaro because...
No, it wasn't that. It was someone big-ish. Not that Rob Van Dam isn't big-ish, but... No.
I'm looking at it. I got to get past the... CM Punk versus Brock Lesnar. And the reason I remember. That's the one it was. The reason I remember is Brock Lesnar's not
promoting the guy who's about to show up somewhere else.
And they're promoting another guy who's literally, allegedly, about to show up someplace else. And I just and the thing is, they did it again because they talked about CM Punk. They mentioned CM Punk's promo or pipe bomb or something like that on one of the SmackDown segments. I mean, they've referenced CM Punk almost as much on their show as AEW has, and AEW is the one that's going to be having CM Punk on their show.
That's crazy.
So,
it's crazy. Well, and we talked numerous times in the past, not on a podcast, but in person, about how astonishing it is that Impact so frequently post matches of, Kurt Angle versus AJ Styles, or Kurt Angle or Samoa Joe versus AJ Styles, or two active people on WWE versus each other back when they were at Impact. In fact, that was their promotional style at one point, where they played before they got their name. It was like, what are you doing?
Well, I think that's exactly
great,
what WWE's doing. Yeah, the same exact thing. They know he's going to think, hey, guys, come to our YouTube channel, though, and see where he was before. We'll get clicks. We'll get money. Screw you guys, That's
not really WWE style, though. WWE likes to promote only themselves.
I'm pretty sure Vince doesn't know about it.
Well, that's probably true. Yeah, Vince probably has no clue. What the hell is that fucker doing on our website?
We have a face palm.
Yes. What is YouTube? What channel is that?
What channel is
Is
it?
it on the premium cable? Do I have to have DirecTV for that? I'm not getting no shitty satellite.
Does that work on my private jet satellite?
But like I said, I give them a slight bit of leeway on not referencing old things, just because it puts their champion in a negative light referencing it, and I think they want to keep the focus on positive. That being said, it's still kind of crappy. So I agree with you there. I wish they would.
I think there's so much value for every one of us as podcasters, as exactly what this show is, exactly what so frequently Wrestle Talk or What Culture or Cultaholic are, or WrestleMania. These are the main podcasts that I watch separate from our own. All of us are those people. We're those people who nitpick and try and pretend that we're better than Nick Khan, because we are. All of us. Every single podcast is better than Nick Khan. But for all of that there is, every one of us, every single one of those podcasts has talked about long-term booking. Well, damn it, point it out to us when you're doing it, because this is a long-term booking that would work. And every one of those podcasts, I have yet to hear a podcaster for professional wrestling, with the exception of JLB, talk bad about the Fiend versus John Cena a year and a half ago. That literally, I mean, you're the only one I've ever seen say something. It wasn't as great as I don't think it's as great as you guys thought it was. And you didn't say it was bad. You just didn't say it was great.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, because when we did that review, I hadn't watched the match yet, because it was on the second night. Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know, but it
was on the first night.
It was on the first night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Taker was on the second night.
I think either way, yeah.
And you pointed out the one obvious thing, that there really wasn't wrestling in it at all.
Yeah, definitely not.
And it made it very. I still thought it was wonderfully entertaining. And none of us, no other podcaster in the world can disagree with you. There really wasn't wrestling in it. There was one Sister Abigail in the whole thing.
That's it.
And that was camera cut, so I don't even know that there was a Sister Abigail actually hit.
Right.
It was set up, and then Cena's laying on his back. So, but that's neither here nor there. I mean, when you have the opportunity to book a long-term feud, even if it just slips into your hands, or even if you just beg the guy, hey, you don't have a movie right now, can you please not start your contract till after August 22nd? Yeah, I can do that for you, man. Like that's really all there is. Like, I don't understand it, I guess.
But yeah, I mean, like, I agree. I don't know. SmackDown is the only of the main WWE product that is even remotely watchable right now. So
yeah, that's a switch from last year, isn't it? Holy cow!
I give them
a year
a
ago,
little bit of a
SmackDown was
pass
horrible.
there. Whereas Raw is a dumpster fire. So bad.
Agreed.
So bad.
I don't know how NXT. I don't know how they ruined it.
NXT is still great right now, but
NXT this week was still good, but
good.
Reports have it that the new look is coming this coming week, and that
and now they're going to be taped.
They're going to pre-tape the episodes, and they're going to pre-tape them all following the takeover next weekend. So it's no longer going to be a live show. It's going to be pre-taped and edited. And
Which, not that pre-taped is going to be terrible.
no,
I mean, it was
But
for years.
Vince legit wants it to be like OVW, so it's really gonna be watered down. And apparently Vince is gonna take over. He blamed everything on Triple H and HBK. Says he didn't like what they were doing, and reportedly Vince is now gonna take control. So NXT is officially gonna be garbage soon enough.
wow.
Unfortunately.
I'm not gonna write off NXT yet. I'm gonna wait for it to be garbage before I write it off.
Well, yeah,
But,
I mean, because they still have a bunch of little guys
yeah.
under contract.
I mean, that's the deal. Is until they fire
Don't jinx it.
Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, the Austin Theory, because he's not particularly big. Heck, even I know Roddy has more the WWE look, but Roddy's still only like just barely 6 foot. I want to say he's like 5'11", so he's wrestling 6 foot.
Yeah. I also think that we very well could see.
Also Ciampa.
You know, can you imagine being Johnny Gargano? Hey, go do that thing that Ray does about his area code.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Where he flips through the ropes. Yeah, you're a little guy. You can do that, right?
But make it your area code so it's different.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then follow it up with a West Coast pop.
But I think you're from the East Coast, so East Coast pop. Yeah,
Called
that's
East
some
Coast
good
pop.
S word.
Yeah.
I mean, I just feel like, I mean, if I was Gargano, I'd be like, I'm going to avoid him like the plague. I'll get my script, I'll do my stuff, and then I won't be around him.
Do you suppose now, this is in speculation, Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae announced this week that they are expecting. So congratulations to Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae.
Yes.
I'm very excited for them. They're gonna have little baby wrestling there. But do you think they're both like walking on eggshells right now, knowing that literally both of their jobs are up in the air?
I don't think they care. At this rate, I feel like any other company would pick them up. And I don't know how much they're actually getting in NXT, but I'm pretty sure that can be matched no problem.
Well, when you weren't here on Tuesday, we kind of wholeheartedly agreed Johnny Gargano's best place is probably NXT the way it was.
Yeah, I would love to see him.
He could go to ROH. I think he could go to ROH and own it.
I think
you're not thinking Impact at all.
I don't think he's built for Impact.
Yeah, I think he'd find a place. The problem is what WWE has done. They're banking on that these releases are flooding the market, right? And literally, the market can't sign everyone, right? And I read something, and I don't know, I have the exact statistics, so I'm going to have to go and look. But in the last 2 years, year and a half, technically, since the beginning of, or since February of 2020, WWE has released, I want to say it's 114 wrestlers.
God, that's a whole roster and a half.
And only 24 of them have signed full-time contracts with any promotion. Any promotion. That still leaves about 90 wrestlers out there that have been released that are not signed with a full-time promotion. Now, keep in mind that this includes in the not officially signed some people that do appear fairly regularly on AEW, like what's his name? I'm totally blanking on him. He's part of the Wingmen. My brain keeps wanting to say Tino Sabatelli, but it's not Sabatelli. It's the other guy.
Okay.
That, anyways. But he regularly appears on AEW, but he doesn't have a contract. He's on a per appearance deal right now. And there's a fair amount of those that appear on AEW Dark that are former WWE guys in some way, like former NXT people, but they're not under a contract. They're just on a per appearance. And so officially speaking, those people are in that 90 unsigned wrestlers, even though they are appearing fairly regularly. But it's still, there's a lot of really talented wrestlers who were released in the last year and a half that aren't appearing regularly since then. And I think that's WWE's that's their game plan right now. So they know that, especially with the amount of talent that they've released so far, and with people like Adam Cole potentially leaving, I say potentially, there's nothing up in the, it's all entirely up in the air, but there's a chance of that eventually Johnny Gargano could get released, Tommaso Ciampa could get released, a whole bunch of the NXT roster could get released, and AEW and Impact and Ring of Honor would be like, we're tapped out. We can't move the money around enough to sign these people as much as we want to.
It's too quick. It's too many. So
yeah, and that I think is WWE's whole plan.
What, to bankrupt them?
No, to make it so they sign. For instance, I think you and I both agree that Adam Cole is phenomenal talent and will make any wrestling promotion better by having him, right?
Right.
But if the wrestling promotions have already pulled out their wallets and paid for CM Punk and Daniel Bryan and all of these people, then Adam Cole hits the market. Suddenly these people are gonna be like, well, I want to sign Adam Cole, but I can't. And so instead of going off to one of the other competitions, Adam Cole ends up having to go to the indies and wrestle at state fairs. Because no place can sign him, because no place can afford to sign him. It's not about bankrupting them. It's about making it so they can't sign the big talents because their contracts are all tied up in the littler guys, right? It's
and the other piece to that is even if they are signing the big talents, even if they're getting that, it drives down the price of the contracts for the other wrestlers. Because then they know that, hey, the market's full, guys.
Yeah. And it gives WWE some leverage back. Because right now, WWE knows that they don't have the leverage anymore. That the talent can come to them. Adam Cole can come to them and say, hey, my contract's up. I'm gonna negotiate a new contract, but I'm also gonna negotiate with these other guys, right? Mm-hmm. And if they offer me a better deal, I might take the deal. So you better, and that gives Adam Cole the leverage. But once AEW, Impact, and Ring of Honor don't have the funds to sign additional people, once their funds are tied up, then the leverage comes back to WWE, because WWE can be like, they can't sign any more people. Look at it. They've got 200 people on their roster and they only do 2 shows a week. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't at all disagree with that.
But like Steve Cutler, it has been signed by Impact Wrestling, right? And Steve Cutler's a good wrestler. There's nothing wrong with Steve Cutler. But that ties up a contract. So Impact Wrestling
can't pick up Bronson Reed.
Can't pick up Bronson Reed or Bray Wyatt. Impact and AEW were probably both trying to figure out how they can move enough money around to get a Bray Wyatt. But Bray Wyatt signs, then they don't have the money for Adam Cole, or Adam Cole signs, they don't have the money for Bray Wyatt, or vice versa.
But maybe they do have it,
right?
But then that means they're also loading up the roster enough that now a number 4, John Silver, is only appearing every 2 weeks. Is it John Silver that's number 4? Is that right? Number 5. Or we'll just say Evil Uno.
Evil Uno's number 1. Stu Grayson's 2. I think John Silver's 3 and Alex Reynolds is 4. I think technically it might be the other way around. Yeah.
But either way, yeah.
But I mean, a perfect example is we've got two wrestlers who, if I'm correct, their no compete is done, right?
Who?
And that's Peyton Royce, Cassie
Yes.
Lee, and
Yep, Cassie Lee and Jessica.
the Iconics and Jessica McKay, who their no competes are up, and they have not shown up on any of the
Anything
other,
yet.
other major.
I think their first appearance is the all women's
Yeah,
pay-per-view.
they very well might show up. They could walk out on Impact Wrestling on Thursday and but,
one of the big pay-per-views, Impact's gigantic, enormous pay-per-view, AEW's pay-per-view, the NWA pay-per-view that's happening on August 29th. There's still time, guys.
yes,
We've got to wait.
there's still plenty of time. But in importance, there's reason I brought those two up is those two actually have a time limit on them, right? Because now
For their value, you mean?
no, for their ability to show up on American TV, and specifically Jessica,
They need a
Jessica
sponsor.
McKay, because Cassie Lee is married to an American, and so has a way to stay in America.
He can sponsor her in a heartbeat and can afford it.
And all that stuff. But Jessica McKay, if she does not find a job to sponsor her visa, she has to go back to Australia.
Oh, damn.
Well, Jessica, I will say that if you need to marry somebody domestically,
Yep.
this is my proposal.
He's ready to be twice divorced.
Absolutely. Is 6 or 7 years of it is Jessica McKay? Absolutely.
But like, if you look at the NXT releases, Bobby Fish, Bronson Reed, Mercedes Martinez are the big names out of it. Those three will probably end up someplace. I would bet Bobby Fish ends up back in Ring of Honor. Bronson Reed, I don't know where he'll go. He'll land somewhere.
He wants to fight Miro.
I 100% think that that's just trolling. He understands that now he's got to build value and get people talking about him. So he puts out one of those tweets that's so popular now that has a whole bunch of words, but if you look at the first letter of each word, it spells out "Give me Miro." Oh, he wants to fight Miro. He's going to AEW. I don't think. First of all, I don't think anyone from AEW's contacted him yet. I'm not saying that AEW's not interested. I'm just saying he's got a 30-day no compete, and we've talked about it before. Tony Khan has shown to be pretty strict about following those no competes and not contract tampering, right? So I don't think he's been contacted by AEW. I personally don't want to see him in AEW, and this is maybe my I'm gonna go ahead and put myself up big screen since I'm talking.
Yeah. Yeah, you're going to do your crime now?
We can do my crime after this, or we can do JLB's, but I just my unpopular opinion. I don't see the draw in Bronson Reed. I'm meh on him. I don't want to see him in AEW because meh. I would much rather turn off a Bronson Reed match and turn on a Bam Bam Bigelow match from 1997. I see big guy and I go, he's not even in my top 10 agile big guys. Right?
Dude, give it a minute, okay?
I would put on a Keith Lee match 100 times over a Bronson Reed match.
Give him some time. He was developmental.
I would even put on the Keith Lee squash match where he lost to Karrion Kross in just a few minutes. And the thing is, it's not that I don't think he could become good or whatever. I literally watch him and I go meh, meh. I'm not saying he's bad. He's just he doesn't stand out to me.
Just
at all.
average. Yeah, that's
He's
it.
just meh. But he'll go somewhere. Mercedes Martinez will end up somewhere. If not at the NWA all women's pay-per-view, I would put money on that.
I feel like
but
they're all
she'll-
going to be there.
But she'll at the very least she will show up someplace. I can see Leon Ruff showing up in Ring of Honor again because he did wrestle there some, if I'm correct. But then going down there, you got Tyler Rust, who was in the middle of a sort of push in NXT. I don't know where he's going to land. Kona Reeves, who just got back from injury, like just got cleared from injury. And I like Kona Reeves.
I think a
but
lot
I
of
don't know
those
where he's
guys,
gonna go.
we can't remember the fact, or we can't forget the fact that a lot of those guys are just going to work indie circuits.
Yeah, but that's my point is. So
One-offs
these
with
people-
indies, they don't even have to contract with them.
Yeah, but that's my point is Tyler Rust, Kona Reeves. I would love to see Kona Reeves somewhere, but I don't necessarily see him going anywhere. Stephon Smith, Jake Atlas, I don't see landing any place full time. Ari Sterling, Desmond Troy, Zachariah Smith, Asher
Oh,
Hale.
I see Jake Atlas landing, but I see him landing in Japan.
Possibly. I don't know.
Or AAA or something like that.
I'm gonna couch my words a bit here. I don't know how Japan will
Embrace the flip-de-doo style.
Yes. No, not the flip-de-doo style. The fact that he is was NXT's first openly gay wrestler.
Oh,
And
that could be.
I worry that Japan would have a hard time with that. Anyways, Ric Flair reportedly is going to start showing up on AEW. I don't give a fuck. But whatever. Bray Wyatt will end up somewhere, definitely. That's a no-brainer, right? Killian Dane could easily go back to Ring of Honor. I know some people on here aren't as big on Killian Dane. I got a kick out of him, so I could see him land.
So you'd
somewhere.
rather watch Killian Dane than Bronson Reed?
Yes.
Eat shit and die.
1,000 times yes.
Jesus.
You are so wrong about that.
1,000% yes.
That's like saying you'd rather watch Rey Mysterio than Will Ospreay.
No, because I
It's
wouldn't
not
say
the
that.
same. I don't
It's
think
That
not
is
the same.
exactly the same as saying that.
It is
Only in big
100%
dudes.
not the same.
Yeah, I wouldn't agree that would be the same. That's a horrible comparison.
The problem is your experience with Killian Dane is entirely his NXT and then horrible main roster run. I watched Killian Dane in Ring of Honor before he came to NXT. And he had so much more to offer than WWE ever gave him, right? Kurt Stallion, I don't see going
With a
anywhere.
name like that, how does he not end up back in WWE?
Kurt Stallion, I don't even know what his real name is. That's just his. August Gray, real name Anthony Green. I don't know where you go. Marina Shafir, frankly, she could try to go back to MMA, and that'd probably be her best option. Bollywood
You can
Boys.
do MMA commentary too. There's always room for that.
Bollywood Boys. There's all sorts of places they could land that are not mainstream. Like they could go down to AAA or CMLL. Something like that. Tyler Breeze has basically said that he's in no rush to get back to actually wrestling. He'll if something comes along that he wants to do, he'll do it. But at the moment, he's fine with just running his wrestling school and going. And here's the deal. Tyler Breeze, the reason I know talk about this is he did a whole interview about how when he first got signed, I can't remember who he said he talked to, but someone he gave him advice about how to diversify his investment portfolio.
Nice. Smart.
So he kept that cash.
Yeah. He who was anyways, and so he's got money coming in from that. He owns some property, rental property, and stuff like that. That he's got money
Smart
coming
man.
in. He's got a lot
Nice.
of investments, all of that stuff. And that was the deal. I wish I could find the article really quickly, but they talked about this. And so when he planned, he signed his first contract. It was a 3-year contract. He basically planned around investing that money enough that if they didn't sign him for another one after that, he'd be fine. And then they signed him for a second contract and with some more money, and that's fine. So he signed that. He continued to invest money, and he did that again. And so when he finally got the call that he was done, he was like, "Oh, that's fine." I'm good. So he's gonna just here we go. It was a Wrestle Talk article. So Tyler Breeze was preparing for a WWE release from day one. Speaking on Chris Van Vliet's thing, when he signed with WWE, he immediately started making plans. I was preparing to get fired the day I got hired. There's a lot of life to live after wrestling. I immediately started to make a plan, got ready. I remembered looking at contracts. When I got my first contract, you have a 3 or 5 year developmental contract. But then I saw my main roster contract. I said, okay, I've got 3 years. Realistically, in a perfect world, I will last 3 years. I don't want to have to sign it. I would like to, but if I don't want to, I want the freedom to say no. By the time 3 years came up, I have to, but it's good. Things are doing okay, so I just signed it, and I went, okay, cool. By the time the next one came around, very different scenario. It was a you don't need me, I'm going to leave kind of thing. At that moment in time, I was not happy, and they said, I'm sorry, we can give you more money. I said, I've been really smart with the money. I don't need more money. I go to the airport and turn around because I'm not happy at work. That was when I had the conversation to go back to NXT, but I was ready to leave right then. I had accomplished everything I'd wanted to achieve, having a goal of freedom to not sign the contract. So when they called him to release him, he was like, cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool, bro.
Because he's
Okay.
like, I've got the money. And so anyways, Tyler Breeze, he could show up someplace, but he could also not. Fandango, I don't know. He's decent enough, maybe Impact, but I don't see it. Arturo Ruas, AAA, maybe. Tony Nese, maybe Impact, maybe just the Indies. Aria Daivari.
He will land. He will definitively land.
Oh, for sure.
Yep,
Daivari would be his heel work could reinvigorate the X division. He could easily land at ROH.
But Ever Rise have been appearing on AEW as 2.0, but they don't have a contract. They're just on a per appearance deal, and who knows if that continues. It's all gonna be if they catch on. Braun Strowman, we all know about. Aleister Black, we already have seen show up. Buddy Murphy has been hinting that he's coming to AEW,
I love his
but who
videos.
knows?
It's for sure AEW. It's the same doctor as the Aleister Black video.
It's very heavily hinting
sure.
at it, but at the same time, I mean, the guy who plays the doctor is Josiah Williams, who used to be a YouTube guy called Wrestle and Flow, and he actually had a contract with NXT. He was one of the NXT wrestlers released earlier this year.
Oh, shit. Okay.
But he did a lot of social media for WWE and NXT, where he did wrestling based raps.
Nice.
And so this literally could have just been him making some money because he's been released. But it's a big hint. Lana, who knows? I mean, Miro's making money, so she might just be content to have her Twitch channel and do some acting and some modeling or whatever and be fine. Who knows?
Yeah, she really doesn't need wrestling at all. Like, you can do her modeling and make money off that.
Ruby Riott reportedly is AEW bound, which I'm happy about because I like her a lot. Santana Garrett might just be an indie wrestler. Jessamine Duke maybe go back to MMA or MMA commentary, or Who knows? Whatever.
Someone's got to beat Nunes.
It's not going to be Jessamine Duke, that's for sure.
No, different weight class.
Yeah.
We know Andrade already. Lars Sullivan, who knows if he ever does anything again. Steve Cutler, we've talked about. Samoa Joe went back to NXT. There's Peyton Royce and Billy Kay. Mickie James, we already have seen. Chelsea Green, we've already seen what's happened to her. Tucker, who knows? Kalisto, go back down to Mexico and do that. Bo Dallas.
He didn't even go to AAA. Police still go to Mexican indie.
Yeah. But Bo Dallas is content to be a real estate agent and live on a farm, I guess. We don't know what's going on with Wesley Blake. And that's the people released this year. I'm not even going to look up last
believe
year's.
in Bo Dallas.
I do. Me too.
I believe too, but I think Bo Dallas has decided that there's life after wrestling and he's just going to embrace that. That's the reports that I've read. That he's like, you know what? I've got my real estate license now, so I can sell real estate and I live on a farm with my. I don't know if they're engaged yet.
Sexy girlfriend.
Yeah, Liv Morgan. So
God, I really wish he would have been hired by the Internal Revenue Service. I think that would have been hilarious.
Yes.
I mean, I'm actually IRS.
Yes, no, seriously, you're getting audited. What?
Saudi Arabian money. Didn't make it back to the States. Didn't get taxed on it. We gotta have a conversation.
So,
Anyway,
unless JLB wants to go next, I will do mine.
do you have a positive or a negative, bud? I hunted down a negative, so we could start with the negative.
Yeah, I don't know. It's. I mean, we kind of talked about the negative. There's a lot of positives this week, more so than negatives, which is a good thing. So I don't know. I'm going to be kind of positive too, technically. So it's up to you.
Kenny Omega's beard, huh? Kenny Omega's beard. Is that what you're going to talk about? How crappy that was?
He's
That
had
I wore
that for
it so
3
much better
weeks.
for Halloween.
He's had that for a while, though. That's not
even more than
I
that.
wore it better for Halloween 2019. That's all I'm saying.
So the problem is, there's just like there's little good spots kind of thing throughout the entire week. I guess one of the bigger ones is kudos to. We also kind of talked about a lot, guys. But I was honestly going to plan on giving a good crime to Christian winning that Impact title. That serves Christian some purpose. It's going to make a lot of eyes go to also Impact. Hopefully, Christian was phenomenal in Impact. That's kind of where Christian made himself again, and WWE realized, oh, wait a minute, we do have a main eventer here, and brought Christian back. So I'm happy that they are doing that with Christian. I honestly believe Christian might end up losing the title at All Out. Kenny Omega might end up losing the title at All Out to Christian. I feel like we're gonna get that Omega time off very soon because there's no way this guy's making it at the end of the year.
They're working you. You're being worked.
I'll be worked. Whatever.
You work.
They are not putting the AEW title on Christian.
No.
They are splitting that title up.
Here's the deal, Chris, and here's the deal: is 100%. You're doing what they planned on this doing, because prior to Rampage, did you think Christian had a chance of winning against Omega?
No.
And then they had him beat Omega for the Impact title, and now you're like, well, maybe he can do it. And this is 100% what they wanted to do, and that's fine. It's great. It's working. This is when wrestling. I can't 100% say that Christian's not going to win. I can only 90% say that Christian's not going to win.
I'm gonna go ahead and say Christian's not gonna win, and here's how we know. What's gonna happen is the Young Bucks are gonna come out, and Kenny and Don Callis are both gonna be like, "Get out of here! No chairs! Get out of here!" Because what happened this week? Christian's gonna hit the kill switch and actually hit it, and Kenny's gonna kick out, and the rest of the match is gonna be Kenny's.
Well, I mean, look, I'm honestly just really concerned about Omega's health more so than anything. So I think if you make Christian the champion, It's going to be a 2 month thing. Give time for Kenny to kind of rest up. He already lost the Impact. I just don't see who would face Christian technically. Is my only kind of concern. But I would be down for a mini little Christian run with the AEW and Impact title.
I'm not saying I don't want to see it. I'm saying that I don't see it happening. And I don't see it happening for a lot of reasons, but the biggest one is because you keep talking about Omega's injuries. Here's the deal: is the Omega injuries that we know about is all through dirt sheet reporting and not through anything officially from Kenny Omega, right?
That's fair.
Or from AEW, right? So that could 100% be a work as well. But on top of it, he has shown that he prefers to work through it right now. So from a storyline standpoint, it doesn't make sense for Christian to be the one to win the AEW title, right? It makes sense for him to win the Impact title because he's got a history with Impact, and he can be a transitional champion in Impact to get the belt back on an Impact wrestler, right? And it saved Kenny Omega, and it also saves Kenny Omega some wear and tear on his
Reduced
body.
work rate. Yep.
Yeah, because now he doesn't have to go and film a bunch of stuff. Because here's the thing with Impact is they film
Out of Nashville?
Well, they film in Nashville, but they film like 4 weeks at a time, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
So all of that we've seen of his Impact stuff was filmed like a month ago. And then now that Christian's the champion, Christian's going to go in and film a 4-week block this next week to get up to the next one, which this now gives Kenny Omega a break inherently by that, right?
That's true.
He also now does not have to wrestle officially. He can now say, I've got my challenger for All Out. I know it's going to happen. He just beat me for this belt. I'm going to go off. I'm not going to wrestle anyone else until then, right? So we've got a month almost, not quite, 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
With the chance of not seeing a Kenny Omega match for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Right? Which is fine.
And he can cut a hell of a promo anytime he wants.
Yeah, he can cut promos and just not do a match. So 3 weeks to relatively rest that. During that time, right, we're likely to have the debut of CM Punk. We're likely to have the debut of Brian Danielson, whatever you want to call him, right? Those people there are enough to take the weight off of Kenny Omega's shoulders for a bit.
For sure.
So Kenny Omega technically can have about 3 weeks. If this is what truly he wants, he can have about 3 weeks to rest and relax and recuperate a bit. And then he'll have a banger of a match with Christian, but he will not lose to Christian. And it may simply come down to that he plays champion's advantage, and if he starts
may
to
lose to Christian, he won't lose the title to Christian.
Starts to lose, he just grabs a chair and thwacks Christian with it and gets DQ'd.
Dequalified.
Which we have yet to see. In 2 we have yet to see in 2 years of AEW, we have yet to see a guy play the champion's advantage and walk out.
Yep.
In some way, shape, or form.
That always could happen.
And Kenny Omega would be the one to do it.
That can buy them another pay-per-view with Christian before Hangman comes back. And Hangman can come back and be like, I've been thinking about this, man, and I've been training, and I'm ready now.
Unless we get Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega.
Well,
and we might.
But here's the deal: is the simple fact is, that's kind of what I was saying is, they're not going to take the belt off Kenny Omega when they have a chance to build a Bryan Danielson versus Kenny Omega for the belt match, and potentially a CM Punk versus Kenny Omega for the belt match, right? Because this is not dogging on Christian in any way, shape, or form. Christian's one of the best wrestlers in the world. he's in that top 100 no matter what you know where you put him is up to you, but he's there. But if you had your choice, would you prefer to see Daniel Bryan versus Kenny Omega or Daniel Bryan versus Christian?
Yeah, for sure. Omega, hands down.
If you had your choice, would you rather see CM Punk versus Kenny Omega or CM Punk versus Christian?
Probably CM Punk versus Christian on that one, actually.
See, for me. And this is not. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, there's a good chance. I can look it up on Cage Match, but there's a good chance that we've already seen CM Punk versus Christian.
Yeah.
Right, but we have not seen CM Punk versus Kenny Omega.
Or who knows? Maybe we'll see Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay.
That's another one there to talk
because
about.
He's
Mister, I'm not defending this in Japan ever again. So you give me my title, recognize my title. That's fantastic.
But he's still showing up in NJPW, the LA one, though, right? So
yeah, he just said, "I'm not going to go back to Japan until you recognize me as the champion."
He has a valid point, though. You didn't take it off Moxley, but you take it off me. What is this? What gives? Screw you.
Yep.
Well.
So yeah, but that's my point is they've got a chance for a bunch of these dream Kenny Omega matches coming up to fill this time with Hangman Page being gone. They're not going to.
Yeah, but Hangman Page is going to be gone for a while, bro. It's not going to be a 2-month thing.
He's not pushing the baby out, bud.
Yeah.
Number one.
No, but he still has to be there for a bit.
Their next pay-per-view is not till like fucking November.
Yeah, paternity leave is very different than maternity leave.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go ahead and say Seth was back, months before Becky because Becky's still not back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's valid. Okay,
and so my point is they've got the rest of August, September, October, and part of November before they've got 4 months to build stuff for Hangman Page. I mean, for all we know, Hangman Page comes back at, Full Gear in November? Right? That's 4 months from now.
Yeah, it's valid. Okay.
That's plenty of time for this. And here's the deal is, we know he's taking time off for the baby. We don't know when. I mean, for all we know, the baby's due next week. Right?
Right. Okay.
And as someone who went back to work 3 days after my wife had our child, mostly because I couldn't afford to not, because we live in a capitalistic hellhole. Now, I did it entirely for the rolling eyes up there. Made my day. But Hangman Page can afford to take off more time. Seth Rollins can afford to take off more time. They're all in better situations than I was, but they're not in Jeff Bezos' situation where they can just be like, I'm never fucking going to work again. Right? They all.
I'm gonna go into outer space for a day or two.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go to space.
Mr.
For 15 minutes or so.
For going into outer space with me. I'm gonna give you $100 million. What?
Yeah. Hey, government! I will give $4 billion to you if you give us the contract to build the lunar lander. Nope. Okay. Anyways, but that's my point. Is he has to come back at some point, but 4 months is still plenty of time.
Yeah, it's a long time.
I would bet money he's back before Full Gear.
Well, yeah, to build it up, right? He's not just going to randomly show up for Gear and they're going to wait until next pay-per-view to make it a thing.
They could have him show up at Full Gear. They could have it be a Kenny Omega. I've beaten everybody. I'm just going to come out and, Full Gear. You can surprise me. I've already beat everybody. It doesn't matter who you throw at me. And then the surprise return at Full Gear is Hangman Page. They could do it. I don't think they're going to, but that's something that we've seen in wrestling before.
Yeah.
The surprise return at a pay-per-view is a big deal. So, but that's the I will say this though, Christian winning did exactly what it wanted to do and what it was there to do. And that was make people like this person right over here say, well, maybe Christian can win the AEW championship. That's exactly what it was designed to do, and it worked. And again, I can't say with 100% certainty that Christian's not going to win, but I'm still at above 90% certainty.
The other piece to that is it also served one other purpose, and that was to make you go, even if you go, he's not winning the AEW title, that's not happening. It made you 100%, and every mark in the industry went, oh my God, Christian just beat Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
And it tells a story, and it builds another storyline, which is the slow, eventual fall apart of the Elite, right? Because now Kenny Omega can come out and be like, I only lost because the Young Bucks were incompetent at
sliding a chair in.
Yeah. I was supposed to win. They were supposed to help me win, and all they did was put a chair in, and that got used against me.
That's a valid point.
So that'll eventually happen, but just not right now. But in the end, it's still going to be a hell of a match. I'm 94% certain that Kenny Omega walks out of All Out still the champion.
You don't have that other 1% to go to 95, huh?
Yeah. the match.
He's not that certain, okay? He's not that certain.
Still,
give the guy a break.
Still a Nebraska high school A minus, not a Nebraska high school A, huh?
Yep, exactly. But what's up? So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. The match was phenomenal, and that just segues really easily into my crime. And my crime is that we had a phenomenal last 5 days of wrestling, right? And I say 5 days, even though there really wasn't. I mean, there was Impact Wrestling on Thursday that I didn't really get a chance to watch. But
for shame.
Even if you include NXT on Tuesday, which was really good. But then AEW Dynamite on Wednesday. SmackDown was decent on Friday. And then the debut of Rampage was fire. And how did he say it? To quote Simon Miller,
Mark Henry commenting. That was
fire. Even that was great.
No, didn't like
it. Simon Miller said, oh my God, it's fantastic having back. Welcome back to 1 hour wrestling. You forgot how much you loved it.
Yeah, he
and
said
he
something
was
like
absolutely right.
He was like, 1 hours of wrestling was like a shot of adrenaline right into my veins or something like that. And that's the
and he's right. He's absolutely right.
How much more exciting a 1 hour. Now, don't get me wrong. I still like 2 hour shows. I think that's probably about the best.
Raw needs to peel off the 3 hour though.
But that 1 hour, I mean, it went so fast. Every moment of it was perfect.
Three matches.
Yeah, 3 matches, but still great storylines being told in between it and all of this stuff. But I will be the middleman in between JLB and BFA in the fact that I wasn't 100% sold on Mark Henry as on commentary. I enjoyed his backstage interviews and segments backstage.
Yeah.
I was not 100% on him on commentary.
4-man team was stupid. Why a 4-man team?
I think some of it. Now, that being said, the rest of the team worked really well. I'm surprised at how well it worked. I like Chris Jericho on commentary. I like Taz on comedy. I've been on the record saying how I don't like when you're the leader of a faction and also on commentary. And this, I think, is kind of an example of why I don't like it, is because both of them are leaders of these badass factions, and then they go on commentary and they're just marking out like little fanboys. But it worked for Rampage. I would prefer Taz and Jericho to step back from their on-screen roles in the other things and transition to just commentary, in my thing, but I really liked it. And Excalibur was a great, in the middle
Yeah,
there. So
pulling JR away from Excalibur was fantastic.
so
I feel like that
me,
was a test run.
yeah. For me, what I would have Rampage be is a 3-man booth with Excalibur, Jericho, and Taz, with Mark Henry being the roving man who can be in the ring to do ring interviews, can be backstage to interview people backstage and set up vignettes or vignettes back there.
The shirt is real.
Yep, it's
Is it up?
ready to, it's not up yet, but it's getting ready. I think the final design done. So, anyways, but the show, like 1 hour, bam, 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 bam. When it was done, I was like, it's done.
Dude, we even got like a new AEW signing with
Yes.
Fuego del Sol coming in.
And,
I was
and
like,
that's one of the ones that I was gonna even highlight, because here's the deal. It's come out since then. Backstage footage has come out as well that support this. Fuego did not know that was happening.
Yeah.
right.
So
It was
his reaction
unscripted.
in the ring was 100% genuine. And, I mean, he was literally about to cry, and I don't blame him, right? He just lost a match and was told that the stipulation on that match was if he won, he got a contract, but he was told he's going to lose, right? So he knew he didn't get the contract. But they did say stay in the ring afterward. And he's like, what? I don't know why. And they had Sammy Guevara, his best friend, who he kind of got launched on Sammy Guevara's blog, all of that stuff, come out and deliver him the contract. And it was about the most pure moment in wrestling television we've had in a long time. It was uplifting and heartwarming and happy, and I don't.
It was Asuka's reaction to Becky being
It
pregnant.
was, yeah. It's basically
Yeah.
that. It's a once in a year thing that can happen. It was so pure. I literally rewatched it 4 or 5 times.
Wow. Okay.
Just that not the match itself.
Right.
I do want to talk a bit about the match, but I watched just that segment 4 or 5 times because it is so powerful to see him first be like, what's going on? What? And then he sees the clipboard and Sammy starts to talk about it and says, and when he finally says, they wanted me to be the person who comes out here and says Fuego is all elite. And
Right.
and the emotion on his face is so real and so visceral and so heartwarming. And, I get it. Some people aren't Fuego fans. Some people don't see the draw in him. And ultimately, is Fuego on the track to being a main eventer in AEW? Probably not. Not in the near
Right.
future, at least, right?
It'll probably be part
eventually.
of the trios whenever they come with the titles.
But yeah, maybe the trios. But here's the deal: is every wrestling company needs, and I'm going to use a word that internet marks like to use as a derogatory word, but jobbers. Every wrestling company needs jobbers, right?
Right.
Jobbers doesn't mean what.
Well, I mean, hold
What
on.
we think it
He
means.
hasn't won literally any match since he's been in AEW.
He's won one.
Yeah, I thought I looked at Cage Match. I didn't see one.
He won one with the tornado
Oh.
DDT.
Oh, okay.
And Sammy Guevara even made a joke about it. He said, "You're like 50-1 or 1-50."
Okay.
And almost won a second one with 17 tornado DDTs.
Snap.
But in the end, it's one of those things where internet marks love to deride the word jobber. But jobber doesn't mean loser. Jobber means a person who comes in with a very specific job. And that job is to make a wrestler look good. And that's where we come to that match with Miro, right? He came into that match on fire. He, before the match was even started, hit with a tornado DDT at Miro, right? Then the match started, he hit another tornado DDT, and then another tornado DDT. And then Miro rolled out, and he almost got a count-out victory, which would have won him the contract, but not the TNT title. And then Miro was able to get back in, and he tried to do another tornado DDT, and then Miro took over and destroyed him. And threw him around like crazy, and Machka kicked him, and then hit the game over, and he tapped out. So
no, he actually hit another one in the ring.
Did he hit another one in the ring?
And had a 2.9 count.
But in the end, my point is, in the end, Fuego looked good. Miro looked great. Miro still looked like a monster.
Right.
Yep. A monster susceptible to a move.
Mm-hmm.
Which could play into how he loses his title later on.
Yes. And so in the end, it's Fuego did his job, and he did his job well. He has the ability to do his job well, and that's why I always hate it, and I will be the first to admit I sometimes fall into it, and I sometimes use the phrase jobber to describe a wrestler in a negative light. And it's something that every time I say it and hear myself say it, I think I need to work on that, because jobber is not actually a bad term, because every wrestling company needs them, right?
Nobody considers Andre a jobber, but that night that Hogan slammed him, there was fear that Andre would not let Hogan get the win, that Andre would not do the job.
Yes.
Because Hogan wasn't going to physically be able to beat Andre. Hogan wasn't going. If Andre didn't want to get slammed, Hogan wasn't going to slam him.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, in wrestling, wrestling companies all need a Barry Horowitz.
Yep.
Right.
And we all need the story of Barry Horowitz getting a win.
Yeah.
Or
that's ultimately that's what it comes down to, is job guys eventually get wins, right?
Yep.
That's really what it comes down to.
Kurt Hawkins.
Kurt Hawkins eventually.
That was a great feel good.
They wasted it, but that's what it was. Because he finally got his win in a tag match, but in the end, a job guy is there to make the star look great. And Barry Horowitz lost a lot of matches, but in every single one of his matches, the person who beat him looked phenomenal.
Okay.
I don't know what that
we
was.
have an impromptu performance by JLB's phone.
My bad.
That's
apparently.
Right.
Sorry, I was just reading that apparently Nickelback is getting sued for the song Rockstar. Apologies. Carry on.
Isn't that like 17 years too late?
It was 2005. Apparently, he made the song in 2001, and it's going to a judge now. And I was trying to hear the original version, which apparently went crazy loud for you guys. So my apologies.
16 years later, there's got to be a statute of limitations on that.
I don't think there is. He just has to prove that it's that similar in reality. So
yeah, Queen pulled it off. Anyway,
exactly.
Back to last week was fire.
Yeah, so last week was fire. So we'll get away from the Fuego, but Fuego is going to do his job. He's going to come in. He's going to look like fire. He's going to lose a bunch of matches. He's going to eventually win a surprise match. He's going to be one of those wrestlers that comes into their battle royals and lights the place on fire and still loses, right? And until recently, I'm going to point this out. Until recently, that was Kofi.
Yep.
Right. Kofi, for a long period in WWE, was effectively a jobber.
Yep.
Right.
Did the job for a lot of people.
He looked really good, and then lost to set up the star, the real star. It was only eventually that he got the go ahead, right? So so Fuego is going to do what he's supposed to do, and I'm happy for him to have that contract. But back to what we were saying is AEW's only got so many contracts that they can afford, right? And I'm sure Fuego's not a huge dollar amount. I'm not saying
Fuego's probably not even 6-digit.
Yeah.
He's probably an out per 5-digit with travel expenses paid.
Yeah. And so, and who knows, maybe he's got a secondary contract like Brandon Cutler technically has 2 contracts. He's got a contract for his backstage work and he's got a contract for his performance. And they might do something like that with Fuego, but he's not got, I'm sure he's not a huge, highly paid star, but he's still making fucking money doing this, and he's got some job security, right? Which, for a guy who up until now has basically had to travel around the country and take any booking he can, that's a big deal. And he gets to do it with his best friends, right? And if you watch Sammy's vlog, you see how well Fuego and Marco and Griff Garrison, all get along together. That they're really, really good friends. So that was
best friends.
So, but then on top of it, just talking about Rampage, the Christian Cage versus Omega match was fire. The Fuego versus Miro match was less than 2 minutes long official match time, and it still was fire. And then Britt Baker, that was a great match, right?
That was great. Yeah.
Red Velvet.
I thought it was a little sloppy.
That's what I didn't say fire. It was a great match, but it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best I've seen from Red Velvet, to be perfectly honest. I think some of it came down to Britt Baker legitimately has a fracture in one of her hands. And so I think they tried to make sure that even though they were working the hand, they also were protecting the hand. And I think that played into it. But it was great. I liked it. And then the at the end where Britt Baker continued to attack Red Velvet, and then Chris Statlander came out setting up a new, fresh feud for Britt Baker afterwards, because we haven't really seen Britt Baker versus Chris Statlander, and I'm there for it because I love Chris Statlander. Then you had returning Jamie Hayter, which, frankly, a lot of people didn't recognize her, and I don't blame them. I barely recognized her.
A lot of people thought she was Becky, and I was like, no.
I think at a glance, kind of reddish hair.
Yeah, if you look really quick, I guess. Sure,
really quickly,
for a second.
Is that Becky?
Like,
no,
what are you
that's not
talking?
Becky.
No, that's not Becky.
I don't think anyone seriously thought it was Becky. I think I think it was like Wish.com Becky, at first. But here's the other. I want to preface that by saying I'm not saying that Jamie Hayter is the Wish.com Becky. I'm just saying that that's maybe what they thought at first. But Jamie Hayter, a lot of people even had kind of forgot about her because we really haven't seen her in a year and a half. She was there for a lot in the very, very early days of AEW, especially AEW Dark, with Bea Priestley. Right? They're both from England. She's one of Bea Priestley's really good friends. Bea Priestley and her, of course, both had to go back to England at the start of COVID and got stuck in England. And eventually, Bea Priestley had an actual contract with AEW. I don't think Jamie Hayter had a full contract, but Bea Priestley got let out of her contract because she couldn't make it to America. So this brings the question, if Jamie Hayter was able to come over and start showing up again, do we have a chance for Bea Priestley to start showing up again?
Which really lights up that women's division.
Which does. Add to that the fact that Bea Priestley's boyfriend just showed up at New Japan. Will Ospreay, in case you're out of the loop, on it. also brings up, is there a chance they both made the trip over here? And are both going to start showing up over here. That could be a lot of fun. But Jamie Hayter, I'm going to have to go back and watch some of her matches, and her early AEW Dark matches, but I remember I liked them overall. So I'm excited to see her back. And again, every little bit helps that women's division. I'm excited with the concept of Ruby Riott now going as Ruby Soho showing up. I think her
it's right around the corner.
Up at the end of the month, I think. I set a timer for.
You got alarms for the day. Today, comes available.
15 days, I think, is the June 2nd releases, which would put it right at the end of the month, the 30th.
Whoop whoop.
But yeah, so I mean, there's a chance that they could show up at All Out because that's September 5th. So there's a good chance.
I truly believe WWE has sacrificed their strongest division, and yes, it's with people they weren't properly using, but they just forfeit the ability of other companies to put out a stronger division in terms of women's wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. The problem is Vince McMahon always did and always will view NXT as developmental.
No, I was talking women's.
I know, women's but even NXT development, women's division is developmental, and he did not see long-term that those divisions were providing the next stars. I mean, look at it. He brought up Rhea Ripley. He brought up Bianca Belair, and they both are doing well. But other people that he brought up from NXT in the women's division have not been doing so well.
No.
And so in his mind, NXT is failing at providing stars for even the women's division, which is why I said I'm worried about Candice LeRae, because Candice LeRae has been in the women's division, and she's one of my favorites in the NXT women's division, but she has not been women's champion.
Boy, I don't know that they won't. They'll wait. They'll wait the 9 months.
Well, yeah, they'll wait until she's had the baby, but
yeah, they're not gonna put themselves in that political situation.
The PR of them, but they can cut Johnny Gargano, and also, in fairness, they did cut a pregnant Maria Kanellis. So
true,
but Maria Kanellis was not as big, high profile as Candice LeRae is right now. So, but anyways, I thought Rampage was fire. I thought Dynamite was fire. Dynamite wasn't as good as previous weeks, and I think the ratings kind of showed as well. But then, even going on, SmackDown was actually pretty decent. You know, surprisingly, Nakamura wins the IC belt. Congratulations, Nakamura. You know, other than that, I mean, it was a decent show. It was way better than Raw, right? And then we go into Saturday, and you have AAA, Triple Mania, and New Japan Wrestling Resurgence on both the same night. So one day after losing the Impact to Christian Cage, Kenny Omega faces off with Andrade for the Mega Championship at Triple Mania, which was a absolutely fire match. And I'm actually doing a watch through of it. I watched it, but I wasn't able to focus on it. So it's actually going to be, I think, my first watch reaction that I'm going to post, because I'm going to watch along and I'm going to be like, holy crap. So, but on top of it, you had Brian Cage showing up in the Marvel Lucha Libre He was dressed as Thanos.
God, what a great play!
Yeah. They had a Captain America. They had a Venom. They had a Spider-Man. They had Thanos. You then later had Brian Cage show up again in a tag team championship match, Phoenix and Pentagon, against Hijo del Vikingo, Laredo Kid, and against Taurus and Brian Cage. You had Deonna Purrazzo win the
AAA Women's
Reina
Championship.
del Reina, Queen of Queens, there. So now she's a double champion. And then again, we cannot undersell the Kenny Omega versus Andrade match, which did feature Ric Flair in his first post WWE appearance, coming out to support his soon-to-be son-in-law.
It is a son-in-law. Okay, soon to be son-in-law. Fair.
Yeah, soon-to-be.
And
They're not married yet.
Nope. Valid.
So
Don't you ruin that for the guys who are in love with Charlotte that have no shot in hell.
no chance. And then, like we said, New Japan Wrestling Resurgence came along, and while I didn't get to watch much of this, but you know, you had some phenomenal matches. TJP, Clark Connors, and Ren Narita versus Wheeler Yuta, Rocky Romero, and Fred Russer. And Wheeler Yuta has recently been tearing it up on AEW and AEW Dark with the Best Friends, and he's really been impressing me there. And of course, TJP is always fun, so that's a great match there. Leo Rush made his appearance in a 10-man tag match, which had all sorts of flip-de-doos.
Which means Leo is D-tired.
So I'm gonna kind of focus on this a bit, because I too made fun of him for it, but then I reread his retirement announcement, and he specifically said in his retirement announcement that he's retiring because of injuries. He will do his best to fulfill any prior commitments.
Okay.
And I believe he had prior announced that he was going to be part of this. So I think this is a prior commitment that he's... And so now, if he is still wrestling in 2 months, then let's make all sorts of fun of him, because that's no longer prior commitments. But Juice Robinson versus Hikuleo. Hikuleo recently wrestled on AEW Dynamite and then on Dark as well, and Juice Robinson has been wrestling on Impact Wrestling with Dave Finlay as Finn Juice, and so that's a fun match there. Tomohiro Ishii versus Moose. I haven't seen the match. I really need to see that match, though.
Yeah, I gotta watch this pay-per-view.
Yeah. Will Ospreay returning and declaring himself the real IWGP champion. We mentioned that earlier, but he still has his belt, and he says, I never turned it. I never lost this belt. You didn't take the belt off Moxley, so I'm the real champion. Which then means we're going to see Will Ospreay wrestling on American soil, which opens up all sorts of fun stuff. For him appearing on Impact, him appearing on AEW, him maybe appearing on Ring of Honor, or even NWA.
So hold up. So I think I figured out Vince. I think he thought to himself, well, these guys. The reason these guys are kicking so much ass is because they're all playing together now. But if they can all load their rosters up, then they won't play with each other anymore.
Possibly. Maybe.
I don't know.
Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson versus John Moxley and Yuji Nagata. Yes, please.
Wow. Okay.
Jay White versus Dave Finlay for the IWGP Never Openweight Championship, which Jay White has. And of course, Dave Finlay is Fit Finlay's son, if you don't know that.
Which you say every single time you bring him up.
Yes, but it's important because he doesn't look anything like Fit Finlay. So you have to.
Charlotte doesn't look like Rick either. So
She looks a little like Rick.
Looks a little like Rick.
Hiroshi Tanahashi defeated Lance Archer for the IWGP United States Championship. So, used to be on Moxley. Lance Archer won it. Tanahashi won it off him. Of course, Moxley was there and came out afterwards because he had prior said that he wants Tanahashi. So, there's probably now going to be a match Tanahashi versus Moxley for that. So a fire night from that. It was just a great 5 days, and now we have to look at Monday Night Raw coming up,
and it'll be there might be fires.
It's a dumpster.
They'll be in dumpsters, but there will be fires.
Or in a little baggie of dog shit on your front porch.
Well, look, it's the week before SummerSlam, so hopefully they decide to at least put it on a decent Raw to excite.
They haven't done good go homes in a while.
Yeah,
I know.
Here's what I'm gonna say. I'm making a prediction. It's not a prediction of results or whatever. My prediction is that as shitty as this week on Raw is going to be, and even as iffy SmackDown might be, that we're going to come away after watching SummerSlam saying, by God, WWE has put on a good pay-per-view. Because it seems to be what's happened every fucking pay-per-view this year. We've spent weeks leading up to it talking about how WWE's television product is horrible, and then they put on a good pay-per-view, and then we go, well, maybe they're capable of doing that all the time. And then, like little fucking fish with 5-minute memories, we forget that they don't do this all the time. They just do it on the pay-per-views, just enough to make us forget. Anyway,
it's amazing how they do that
because they're so delicious. Hashtag
so we've got Raw tonight. I say tonight because it's officially Monday now. We have Raw tonight. Whatever. NXT tomorrow, Tuesday. It'll be interesting with the changing looks, whether it's going to be good or not. But then Dynamite, Impact on Thursday, if you get a chance to watch that. SmackDown, then Rampage on Friday. Saturday,
first dance. Woo.
Yeah, the first dance, which here I've said this before, with all of the hinting at CM Punk showing up at it. Tony Khan, in an interview, said, for the first dance, I think everyone knows what to expect. With all of the CM Punk hinting for the first dance, right? If CM Punk doesn't make an appearance, there's going to be fucking rioting in the street. Nah, probably not rioting. But that's going to be everything you hear. Well, maybe in Chicago.
Yeah.
But that's going to be everything you hear from the internet wrestling community all day Saturday is going to be like, "Rah! How dare them!" So I'm relatively certain CM Punk's going to show up. It would be really funny if they had Cult of Personality hit, but then Bryan Danielson walked out. That's the sort of trolling that I
almost feel like something big is going to happen, but it's not going to be CM Punk because, like, I feel like he's going to just show up at All Out.
I think here's the deal. You don't sell 24,000 tickets to the United Center in Chicago, hinting that he's going to be there and not deliver it and expect there to still be people tuning in to 2 weeks later when you come back to Chicago, right? Now, is he going to wrestle? No. I bet you he makes an appearance, and it might
be a vignette.
It might be a vignette, yes, a vignette. It might. Like I was going to say, he's going to make an appearance. It might not be in person. It might be pre-recorded, or it might be just a vignette, or it might be via satellite from his house in Chicago. or it might just be him sitting in the crowd. You
Do we
know
have
what I
any
mean?
matches? Do we have any matches for that Rampage yet? We do, right?
They have not announced any matches yet.
Nothing? Okay.
Matches? We don't need no stinking matches.
But I'm 94.1% certain that CM Punk's going to be there. I'm only slightly more certain that CM Punk's going to be there than I am that Kenny Omega is going to retain the belt. Anyways, but anyways, and then Saturday we're going to have SummerSlam, and then Sunday we're having an NXT.
Yeah. It'll be a crazy weekend.
Oh, jeez. So yeah, that's the programming note for everyone. Expect next week's to be not a typical crimes
How
report.
are we gonna do our whole review thing with best of, worst of?
We're just gonna have to do like we did for WrestleMania. It's a best of the weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, you're
I'm
gonna
gonna
get
get us in trouble.
in trouble. We're gonna get a copyright strike for that. But so it's gonna be a phenomenal week. So that's my crimes for the week, is how great this last week was and how great this upcoming will be. Aside from the
Really, the next 3 weeks, I think, are going to be fire.
well, yeah, and then fallout from that could all be good, and then leading up to All Out, there's a lot of fun that can be had there.
Well, then you also have NWA's event happening on the 29th. So
Yep.
yeah, it's going to be an exciting week all the way up until 3 weeks, all the way up until All Out. So I'm here for it.
What a time to be a wrestling fan, unless you also
Unless it's
count Monday
Monday.
Night Raw. And then,
Yeah, unless you're just a WWE fan, then I don't know. You just are down in the dumps.
Well, how do you feel? I mean, if you're Vince and you're looking at SmackDown and Raw's numbers since what, July is when SmackDown passed up Raw?
something like that, yeah.
Are you still attributing that to free television, or are you attributing that to the product on Raw? Yet.
I mean, if I'm Vince McMahon, I'm saying that this entire last year, the problem has been the fact that we haven't had fans in the crowd.
Yeah, no COVID. Yeah, COVID's fault.
And what's the latest on SummerSlam? Because apparently SummerSlam isn't going to happen in Houston in the arena because
Everything
of new COVID restrictions.
everything
that's
I've
going
heard so
on.
far has said it's still going on.
Still
Yeah,
going
no.
on. Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be. There's going to
did
be a lot
hear-
of hell for Texas to change it.
That there was a report like 2 weeks ago that WWE was preparing for the chance that it wasn't going to go on, but right now
I would guess that'd just be change of venue to outdoor.
yeah right now
Knowing WWE.
well, and the governor of Texas isn't going to close.
Greg Abbott isn't going to sprint towards that by any means.
No.
Well, no, but it was like a limit in how many people you can actually have or something. It wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. Like it. I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was just something along the lines of how many people you can have in a stadium. Like they were going to push that back a bit. But I guess maybe not because they haven't even announced Thunderdome or anything. So, and it's a week away, so I doubt nothing's going to happen. They're going to actually do it. Which kudos to them, thank God, because all that preparation, and then you have to go back to the Performance Center. Like Jesus, refund all those tickets.
Yeah, I mean, Allegiant Stadium just has a whole page about, it saying it's going on.
Okay, cool.
Like I said, all I'd ever heard was a report that WWE was making backup preparations in case they had to.
Well, and with Allegiant Stadium being sponsored by a health company, obviously they're going to have all the health protocols in place. Free shots at the door. Okay, nobody got the sarcasm there. No, nobody.
Yeah.
No.
Free 5G at the door.
Better Wi-Fi, yay! It's so dumb. Yeah.
Anyway,
I could tune into Tokyo with my new 5G arm.
My
It's
shot.
amazing.
shot.
Shot.
Yeah. Here's the deal. Lincoln, Nebraska just had 90,000 people in a stadium for a Garth Brooks concert. I don't think Texas is going to let Nebraska out big them right now.
It's a valid point.
Nebraska did that? No. Let's pack them all in there for SummerSlam.
But in arenas, they all the fans have to get the shots, or they just have to test negative.
As of right now, the official COVID-19 policy from Allegiant Stadium is all individuals, regardless of vaccination status, must wear a mask while inside the stadium.
Oh, wow. Okay.
State does not currently require proof of vaccination to attend events.
That's crazy. Okay. Guys, so I do want to bring something up before we get to the AEW, WWE, or whatever, AEW, ROH, or Impact. What are we thinking?
That's on Tuesdays. The next is misdemeanors and commendations.
Oh, Jesus.
We'll go ahead and talk about that. Go ahead.
So what are we thinking? So there was reports that Charlotte and Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks missed a live show. Brian Saxton had mentioned to the crowd unforeseen circumstances. Obviously, there's rumors roaring. Is it COVID? Is it something else? Curious if you guys had heard anything more about that.
I haven't heard anything more. I mean, just the rampant speculation. I would venture to say that with COVID and all of that stuff, who knows? But in reality, I would bet it was probably more travel related. Because it was one of their super shows. It wasn't one of their televised shows.
Right.
And so they had to travel specifically for it. I'm just betting it comes out that they had travel issues that made them not able to get there in time. That's my speculation.
Okay.
That's how he speculates.
But I
don't have a clue.
Yeah.
I don't have a clue. And I wouldn't overthink anything right now. There is a significant portion of WWE wrestlers who are vaccinated.
Well, I imagine they would all have to be, no?
They don't have to be.
The superstars don't have to be?
They're not cutting promos.
For what from what I've read, WWE is not currently requiring vaccination, but they are testing.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
And they're not cutting I mean, pick somebody who's not in that promo video of encouraging people to vaccinate, because they're not going to put that person who refuses to vaccinate on that promo.
Right, for sure.
For risk that it comes out that they refuse to vaccinate.
Okay.
I mean, in the end, do I expect Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks did get vaccinated? I would venture to say I'd put money that they had.
They probably did. Yeah.
But breakthrough infections happen. The vaccine is It was originally said at 95% effective. Now they're saying it's probably realistically closer to 90% effective. And then Delta it's even
Spreads
a little
faster.
yeah, and it's a little bit less effective against Delta. So breakthrough infections happen. So it could be. I'm not saying it's not. But as of right now, they're
would
both
likely be.
expected for SmackDown. And that's what it'll come down to. If we see them on SmackDown, then it was a
They also
something
would
else.
likely be very, very low effect on their actual health. Very low effect on their actual health.
Well, very likely, but I mean,
In all probability, not reality, because we don't know. We don't have any facts about any of it other than that they didn't show up for a super show.
yep.
Right.
And frankly, here's another thing to play into it. It could have been that they weren't actually booked for the show. That this was a card subject to change moment where they were advertised for the show, and
I said, "Oh, yeah, they couldn't make it because of unforeseen circumstances."
yeah, but WWE was like, "Yeah, don't go to the show. We want to rest you."
Yeah,
Because that would
you got to get your hair checked because that was just all up in your mouth. So you got to get that checked to make sure there's no split ends in there.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a real hair? Or do you think it's a weave?
Sasha's? It's
No,
Bianca's,
Bianca's.
I believe, is real.
The
You
whole
mean
thing.
the whole long tail? No, I don't think
Yeah.
that's real. I think that's a clip-on.
I think there's something added to it. That's
Maybe,
what
yeah.
I think
The-
it's
the only
mostly
reason-
hers.
The only reason I thought it real is because I thought it was, at one point I read that it was a point of pride of hers that she had gone X number of years without cutting her hair.
Without it braided, that's longer than she is tall. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts.
For sure. That's why I think it's at least not all of it. I think some of it's maybe a clip-on or something, because that'd be too long, man. I mean, it's possible, but that's years of dedication, if that. So.
No. Damn it, I put that song in my head myself.
On the stage. No, am I singing the right song? No, I was
Look in my eyes.
Yes,
According to Bianca Belair on Booker T's podcast, the braid is real.
Oh wow!
All of it. Wow. She's got to have something in it to help reinforce it, then, so it doesn't get damaged in matches. The way they use it.
Yeah, that's wild.
Maybe not.
Hair is remarkably strong, man.
Yes, it is. Would you ever see the Superman cartoon where they were hanging 1,000 pounds from? Never mind. Or no, that was Superman 4.
But
I've never actually measured the hair, but it's almost to the floor. It's pretty long. It almost touches. I would say it's between my ankle and my knee. So somewhere mid-calf. So that's the length of my hair. It's pretty long. Preparing the hair for every match is a task. I'm not even going to lie about that. It's a task. I'm probably one of the last girls in the back to get ready. It's a lot I put into the braid. It's not something that everyone can do, and that's what makes it special. All the work I put into the braid is worth it, so I'm not even going to complain how much time it takes to do the braid. So there you have it. It is real.
The plus for her is now that she's made roster, she probably gets a little help with it.
Yeah, straight up. Hopefully.
So, all right, commendations.
commendations. I'm just gonna say we can put them in together into one. Commendations and misdemeanors. Just
Okay.
this way we run through them. Who wants to go first?
I got a few.
Okay.
So, commendation. Hold on. Commendation number 1 is Will Ospreay telling the story that he's telling. I know we've already talked about it a little bit, but that storytelling is fantastic. That heel work is great. I mean, he's been a heel for a little while now in New Japan, but when you look up his matches online, you're typically going to see face Will Ospreay. Heel Will Ospreay is a lot more fun than face Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay. Face Will Ospreay is entertaining in matches, but that's about it. Heel Will Ospreay is entertaining all the freaking time. So, and I thought he was Johnny Gargano. I thought he was a pure natural babyface. I was like, you're gonna be boring forever. But nope, he's not. Here's
the thing.
He's entertaining all the time.
Face Will Ospreay is just fucking Ricochet.
Yeah.
It's just and the deal. I'm not trying to dog Ricochet on this. Ricochet is a ton of fun to watch in the ring.
He has no charisma on the mic.
But why do we care about him, right? Why do we... He's got nothing going on.
Ricochet needs to be the other piece to Nikki ASH. He could actually pull off a superhero gimmick. Anyway, that's hot take.
Hot take. Anything else?
So, yeah, I also have a misdemeanor, and this misdemeanor goes out to us, to all of us in this group, and that's because at one point we were putting WWE on blast for the Stomp, and nobody put it on blast.
Jesus.
And I gotta say, I felt uncomfortable with the second Stomp. Was legitimately uncomfortable with it.
I mean, I'm gonna have to go back and listen. I don't remember putting WWE on blast for the Stomp, but I've always liked the Stomp. So,
yeah, I don't think I've. Yeah, are you sure we put them on blast? Because I feel like
Yes.
that's not something I would have said.
Because he was facing Apollo, maybe, and we thought, oh my gosh, I can't believe they just did that.
I don't know. I feel like if Smarks can go through his archives, I think that was might have been you again, perhaps.
Well, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that the conservative guy is the one who's uncomfortable with it.
I don't remember saying it. I'll just go on your word, I guess. But I think context always matters.
Yeah, that's it.
And
if it was like a racist gimmick or something, then yeah.
I will say that I think it was during the riots, but beyond that,
yeah, maybe I don't know. And that definitely can play into it. It also comes down to the characters that people play. You know.
I don't disagree. I said, I wasn't uncomfortable with the first one. I was uncomfortable with the second one. On the title, I just,
yeah. For me, when your gimmick is and your reality is you're a dentist, any move that's designed to hit the teeth plays directly into that part of your gimmick.
Yeah, I was even uncomfortable you saying that. So let's just move forward.
Yeah. And so, but that's the deal. Is I mean, Britt's whole gimmick is I'll knock your teeth out and then you can pay me to fix it. You know. So, I will say I don't necessarily like the idea of the Stomp being in her repertoire, if only because I think she's got so many other moves already that she can deal with. But that's less of a racial consideration and more I just think she's got better things she could do. But anyways, was that it for you?
Yeah, well, I mean, I could come up with dozens of others. I'm not gonna.
JLB, you got anything?
Well, I don't know if it's an accommodation or
commendation.
Yeah. Accommodation is, like a hotel room.
Or, continental breakfast.
I don't know why I keep messing that up. So I'm not sure if I like it or not. I feel like I'm still gonna give Baron Corbin props on.
Oh, he put on a great match.
I'm 100% down with the poor Baron Corbin gimmick.
Like I am, and I still think it's great, but I'm also kind of fed up at the same time. Like it's just like Corbin, I kind of just want you to, because it's almost getting to the point of how he was King Corbin. It was good for a bit, and then it just got stupid. Really excited for him against KO, if that becomes a thing. But I guess KO beat him, so maybe not. I just the problem is he's just in one of those storylines that he's not going to gain anything from it. You know
There's
what I mean?
going to be a payoff to it, and the payoff's going to be Happy Corbin, and that's going to be where he gains something. But you've got to reach rock bottom before they can tell this story.
The only piece I didn't like about it this week, about the Corbin
Just the whole
stuff,
bankruptcy thing too. Like he's going to file for bankruptcy. Like how do you lose everything just because you lose your crown? It just doesn't make sense.
Because you were spending your money like you were a king, and you're not a king. Duh. Suspend your disbelief.
Now, the suspension of disbelief here is that the implication that being King of the Ring came with additional income, right?
That's it.
And that losing the crown, losing the King of the Ring crown, means he no longer has that additional income that he had been banking on and pre-spending, right?
Right.
And now that he no longer had that, he no longer has the prestige to keep his wife happy, and so his wife left him, and he lost the house because he couldn't afford to make the payments anymore, and he couldn't afford the Bentley anymore, and he just needs a couple $100,000 to make ends meet for a day or two.
Which is that's my complaint. Monday it was I need $100,000. Friday it was I'll fight Kevin Owens for $1,000 if I win.
But I
What?
like that because he's so desperate, yet he still wants to be conning. You know what I mean? He still wants to con people, like no problem. So he's still cunning in that way as well. So I like that. I don't mind that because he's all over the place, right? He doesn't care. He just wants money.
On top of
he's
it,
a greedy poor man.
As someone who once was unemployed, I use the
Just
air
once?
quotes because it was just that one time.
Yeah.
I can tell you that early on in your unemployment, you're thinking big picture. This is what I need, big picture. And then later in the unemployment, you start thinking, what do I need for today? You know?
Right.
And so earlier on, he was like, I just need $100,000 to get back on feet and everything. And then at the end of the week, he's made it to the... I don't even need... I'm not even worried about getting back on my feet. I'm just worried about tonight, you know?
I need a bologna sandwich. Oh my gosh, if he fights for a bologna sandwich next week, that'll be fantastic.
Well, you know, they had a whole thing about him getting fined for
not wearing a suit
because he wasn't wearing his suit. They had a whole gimmick that they weren't going to let him into the show because he didn't look like he belonged there. And so, you know, it's going to be one of these things where they're going to show him back at catering in one of them, you know, and
Sneaking food.
trying to sneak food, you know, and eventually.
Well, he stole the money in the bank, so we'll see what happens there.
I also feel like there needs to be the feud needs to be with Shinsuke at some point because Shinsuke is the king of the ring.
Well,
Right.
for now.
At some point.
Reportedly, they're having a whole King of the Ring tournament in less than a month, so...
Okay. They better not give it back to Corbin. I swear to God. Get him out of that king gimmick.
I say less than a month. It's supposed to start in September and then finish, I think, in October at the Saudi Arabia, if they do that. Anyways, they're doing both a King of the Ring and a Queen of the Ring, reportedly.
That's right. Yeah,
nice.
Yeah, that's right, because we fantasy booked that. You weren't here for that. Sorry, guy.
No problem. I'm sorry. I was already asleep.
But so in the end, I'm down with the Baron Corbin, but My commendations and or misdemeanors, I mean, I kind of go along with, I would say, phenomenal week. Congratulations to Christian Cage for becoming the, at least for the time being, Impact World Champion.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see you get destroyed by Moose.
Yeah.
Who's he facing? Actually, he's not facing Moose, is he? He's facing.
No,
No, they announced
some dude.
They announced that it's for what's it, Emergence?
No, not DDP.
Definitely not DDP. Damn it.
Brian Myers. That's his next.
Oh,
his
yes.
first defense.
Okay.
But he's going to be at the tapings, and then Emergence is, I think, their next pay-per-view.
And that's the whole multi-brand event, right? No, that's Slammiversary. No, Bound for Glory.
That's Bound for Glory. Emergence is. I say it's their pay-per-view. It's one of their.
Just their specialty shows.
Impact Plus events that they do in between. So,
Okay.
And Bound for Glory is going to be there. Theoretically, they haven't officially announced that it's going to be multi-brand, but that's been what they hinted at heavily. So, but congratulations to him. Congratulations to Fuego for getting a contract.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Congratulations to Deonna Purrazzo for becoming a double champ. Even though reports have it the match wasn't the best match, still.
Who was she facing?
I'm not entirely certain I remember the name. It's not a name I was super familiar with, but
that's fair. No worries. Don't need to.
Deonna Purrazzo.
That was at Resurgence, though, right?
Yes.
I really gotta check out that pay-per-view, though. That sounded fire from top to bottom. And then I don't know much about Will Ospreay, so I am really excited to see more of this guy.
You gotta.
Yeah.
So Will Ospreay, the fun thing with Will Ospreay is you do get to watch the evolution of him over the years. So go back and watch. You can just search for Will Ospreay versus Ricochet, and you can see early Will Ospreay in a match that was.
I mean, anything Ricochet is 5 stars to me, so don't you dare say otherwise.
Oh no! It was, well. Hey, here's the deal: it's controversial. Fabi Apache, that was who. Yeah, Purrazzo beat. Which I'm not super familiar with. So Will Ospreay versus Ricochet was, I'd say, controversial in the fact that it was one of those matches that you either loved or you hated, right? Because it represented a different style of wrestling than was familiar, right? We've gotten more used to it with Ricochet now, more in the main thing. But it was one of these matches that was very heavily on flip-de-doo. In fact, the argument against it being considered a great match is the fact that it really looked, in some ways, more like a gymnastics show than a wrestling match, right? And that's the slight against it, right? But you get to watch him come from that and go through the years and eventually watch him. I mean, the big thing is he's bulked up a lot since then.
Okay.
Because if you see him now, he is like, in the early ones, he was basically Ricochet's size, right? But now he's definitely a heavyweight. But he still moves a lot like the cruiserweight flip-de-doo. So
Oh my God, Walter faced Will Ospreay?
Yep.
Oh wow. Okay.
So go through, but I'd recommend you watch a bunch of his earlier stuff and then try to find some of his stuff the last couple years, and
Yeah,
you'll
I'm
get
gonna
to see
find a playlist.
His evolution, because he started off and he was basically a babyface, flip-de-doer, and kind of like DA Fabe talked about, he was just a white meat babyface and all of this stuff, and it's only been relatively recently that he developed this edge, this heel thing. But at the same time, he also moved from junior, super juniors, junior heavyweight to heavyweight, and so he bulked up a lot. And
well, and the other piece is that all of that's happened just right after he was named Wrestler of the Year by Pro Wrestling Magazine,
Illustrator, no.
Yeah,
Insider.
Pro Wrestling Insider. That's what it is. By PW Insider, and that was 2019, I want to say. And so, I will tell you, if you do go back and watch the older stuff, the one thing that irritates me the most about back then is the flip-de-doo with nobody making contact. Two guys flipping across the ring and nobody hits anything, and they stop and they land in the superhero pose and they look at each other, and it's just, that's where you start going, oh my gosh, this is a gymnastics show.
Yeah, and that's legitimately the knock against that match.
But fans loved it every time he did it.
So, but like, just hop on. Jesus, that's a long list. Go to Cage Match and go to Match Guide. And like the match guide. Christmas. Let's sort this by Wrestling Observer.
Should I just do like 5-star matches, like playlist of his 5-star matches, or no?
You're gonna have a lot of them.
Not fair.
He has. Let's just start. Let's count the number of matches above 5 stars and above. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 5-star and above matches.
Wow.
And all of those except for 4 are 2019 and later, right? 4 of
I don't
them,
even think the Rey Mysterio was it? The early one in his career? Where he got, basically Ospreay got to be I was gonna say, he got to be the kid in the audience after he beat Rey Mysterio and Rey gave him a mask.
Nope. So the oldest one is a 2016, but it's a trios match. Adam Cole, Matt Jackson, and Nick Jackson versus Matt Sydal, Ricochet, and Will Ospreay.
Golly. Oh, wow. That sounds so fun.
Yeah, that's
from 2016. In Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, yeah, PWG. Then you've got Kushida versus Will Ospreay in 2017.
One of the few guys who might actually have more 5-star matches.
Marty Scurll versus Will Ospreay in 2018.
I can't believe you said his name out loud.
Again, you separate the artist from the art. Hiroshi Tanahashi and Will Ospreay versus Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi in 2018. Oh, wow. And then you hit 2019, and that's where he starts his thing. So you've got Shingo Takagi versus Will Ospreay. You got Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay. You've got Bandito versus Will Ospreay. Dragon Lee versus Will Ospreay. Kota Ibushi versus Will Ospreay.
How did the Matt Riddle match fare?
There is a Matt Riddle match that got 4 3/4 stars.
Oh, okay. Currently streaming that as we speak.
Then in 20, you've got Shingo Takagi with 5 stars again, and you've got Takahashi versus Ospreay with 5.5 stars. And then in 21, you got Shingo Takagi versus Ospreay with 5.5 stars. And in 21, another Takagi versus Will Ospreay with 6 stars.
Oh, wow.
But again, that's just the 5 and up, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at 4 3/4 stars, you've got, let me get the count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. 28 4 3/4 star matches.
Damn.
And you don't need to name them all.
I'm not going to name them all, but that's one of those. Two of those are the Will Ospreay versus Ricochet matches. So it's
Nice.
one of those. I would bet the one. Let's see, the one that gets the highest fan view is from May 18th of 2017.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But there's one from May 27th of 2016, just before that is also up there. And then there's another one from 2016. I mean, he wrestled them a lot, but
I'll check on cage matches. All right. I have some watching to do this week, and if any of you guys are down, maybe we can do like a watch along or something. Not necessarily botch alongs. I feel like they're.
I only do that with botches. Soon, we need to record 26 episodes of it for this year's season.
Sounds like a plan. There's plenty of botches in the wrestling world.
Let's see here, just to answer. Kushida does not have more 5-star matches than Will Ospreay.
Really?
There are only a few wrestlers.
Okada. Sorry, I was thinking of Okada.
Yeah, Okada has 21 5+ star matches.
Wow.
Misawa has 25. He's the top one with 25. Kenta Kobashi has 23. Kawada,
Omega's got to be close to Ospreay.
Have 21. Omega has 17. Will Ospreay is 16. So Omega's one ahead of Will Ospreay.
For now.
For now, right? Rounding out, you've got Akira Tao with 15, Hiroshi Tanahashi with 15, Kota Ibushi with 13, and Manami Toyota with 13.
Hey, side note also, from Wednesday night, mad props to Kenny Omega's promo where he told Christian Cage, maybe this is the previous week, but where he told Christian Cage, so you can finally get that elusive 5-star match that you've never had. I was like, oh, burn.
Valid though.
So the one misdemeanor I have to
Christian
do,
has had one 5-star match. It was the TLC 2.
Yep.
But the one misdemeanor I have to have is fucking Ric Flair apparently wants to have another match.
What? Dude, he was so tired from that figure 4 that he did at AAA.
Yeah. Apparently, that's the report. He wants to have one more match. And the speculation is he wants to have it with Sting, which I get from a standpoint of, you know, his career in NWA and WCW is so tied to Sting to have one final match for it. But here's the thing.
Yeah, it can't be a singles match. Yeah.
Do a coach's match. He can lead Andrade and Sting can lead Darby.
Yeah, no, I don't even want to see it because I'm gonna point back behind me on that shelf there. There's a VHS tape. It's right there, right? I keep it around because that VHS tape has the last WCW Nitro on it, which featured the last Sting versus Ric Flair match And I would like that to stay the last Sting versus Ric Flair match. Because
even though not the best.
It wasn't the best, but it was still both of them in, I'm not even going to say their primes. Because I would venture to say most people would say Ric Flair was at that point past his prime.
Yes, yeah, I would say his prime was about the time NWO showed up.
Yeah.
Was the end of his prime.
So, but it was still when they both could put on good matches. And the argument I have to say is, in 1999, if you would have said, "Oh, I really, really, really want to see Undertaker versus Goldberg," everyone would have been like, "Yeah, that match would be fire." And we eventually got Undertaker versus Goldberg, and it was not fire.
18.
It was a steaming pile of monkey shit.
It never happened. I don't want to believe it. Never happened. I erased it from my memory.
What happens in Arabia stays in Arabia.
Exactly.
So, and that's what it comes down to. I don't want that to happen with Flair versus Sting. I like the idea of their last match being the last match ever on Monday Nitro. That's it. Well, that's where that rivalry ends.
Now
they don't have a rivalry now.
That's it. This is a few years. This is still what was it? 2016 when he did that match with Mick Foley, that hardcore match in Impact. That was still pretty fire. But I mean,
but it was a hardcore match, which means it can be. Here's the deal. And this is not dogging Moxley. This is not dogging those guys. But when you're putting on... Stone Cold went to a brawler style of wrestling because his injuries didn't allow him to be a technical style wrestler anymore. The reason you go to a brawler or a blood match, a match where there's blood involved, I think it was a first blood if I remember correctly, is because he can't put on the match anymore. And again, this isn't dogging people who do death matches. This is saying there's a reason Terry Funk could do death matches all the way into his late 60s, early 70s.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, in the end, it's the reason that Chris Jericho, when he left WWE and went to New Japan, he changed his style. He was no longer the in-ring technician that he had previously did. He became the Painmaker, and he started doing a lot more brawling because it's easier to do that at an older age. It's easier to do that as you advance. And again, just like DFA would say, this is not knocking them, right? This is understanding their limits. But the thing is, I don't want to see Ric Flair the brawler, and I don't want to see Sting the brawler, right? And I said this before, and I'll be the first to admit, Sting has impressed me with his ability to go in the ring right now. But he's still a 60-year-old man.
Who limits his matches to time frames.
Yes, who and going up against a 70-year-old man, I don't have an interest in.
I mean, if anything, this would have to be pre-taped and edited and whatever. But Ric Flair ideally would just want like an old school, live match. But no, Rick can't do that. Come on, bro. No.
But reports have it that that's what he wants, and that's part of why he left WWE is that he wants to do one more match. And I don't want to see it. I mean, and the thing is, this is not about not respecting Ric Flair. I love Ric Flair.
He had a hard time getting up from the figure four, for crying out loud.
This is about not ruining his legacy.
Mm-hmm. It's about not having him die in the ring.
Yeah, that's it.
So thus far, Ric Flair's final matches have been Sting in '99, which was a good match. HBK, which was an emotional match. I mean, that one took you through an emotional roller coaster. Yeah. And then, of course, the Mick Foley match, which was I believe his last one in Impact. If it wasn't his last one, then it was close to his last one. And it's the last memorable one. I'm okay with it ending on that. Those were all good matches. Why press your luck, man?
That's exactly my thing. Is just why.
Unless it's against Charlotte for the family crown and it's figure 4 versus figure 8. I don't know. But even then, I don't want to see it.
No.
Actually, his last match was against Sting. Impact Wrestling, December 9th, 2011.
Okay. So it was shortly after the Mick Foley.
Well,
so
a year after.
We've had 2 last matches with Sting. We don't need another one. We just, and we sure as hell don't need it 10 years later.
Jesus, Ric Flair did a street fight with AJ Styles and Matt Hardy? I gotta go back and watch these matches. I think we have a few Impact botchalongs to do against.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Ric Flair and Impact, that could be a whole season.
Oh, straight up. Abyss and Hulk Hogan versus AJ Styles and Ric Flair. Gee golly.
How do you put Abyss with Hulk Hogan?
I don't know. You just do as you're told, and that's it.
Well, considering Hogan booked it.
Yeah, exactly. Oh,
anyway,
man.
Great commendation.
In the end, the only other thing, I really hope Impact Wrestling has a plan to unify the belts.
2 belts.
And so someone can stop carrying 2 belts, because I cannot tell you how many times I had to explain to people on Twitter or TikTok or whatever why there were 2 Impact belts right now. They're like, why? So there's a TNA belt, and then they retired that and they replaced it with the Impact belt. And then Tessa Blanchard had the Impact belt, but she couldn't come to the States because she was down in Mexico and COVID and everything. So they stripped her of the Impact belt. But since they didn't have the Impact belt, they had Moose find the old TNA belt and declare himself the champion. And then Rich Swann won the Impact belt. So then they had Moose versus Rich Swann to unify the belts. But then they didn't unify them. They just had 2 belts. And so then Kenny Omega won, and then he carried around 2 belts, and it just like there's a reason you unify the belts, right?
Yep.
Or don't, or just say, okay, now that you're the double champion, we're gonna retire this belt or whatever. But it's just kind of silly. Just get them down to 1. And then in relationship, they did a unification in New Japan for the IWGP belt, and they replaced it with a belt that I think looks stupid. And that's the belt that Will Ospreay has right now, and I think it looks dumb. And I wish they would just go back to the IWGP belt, because it was gorgeous. It was up there with my favorite of the current belts at the time. AEW, IWGP were basically tied. Anyways, that's my commendations and misdemeanors. So
okay, perfect.
So on that note, I think we will start to wrap things up for the wrestling booking unit. Unless either of you have anything more to say. Going once, going twice, sold. So we're going to wrap things up. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. I've had that going across the bottom down there. If you're following us on Facebook, please go over and subscribe to us on YouTube. Even if you don't want to watch it over there or go to the live streams, that little subscription check over there helps us out a lot. If you're listening to us on the podcast, head on over to YouTube, subscribe, follow us on the Instagram or the Facebook page. So you get notified there. All of that stuff. Good things there. But you can also check out all of the links in the doobly-doos for our Patreon, our merch store, all of our social medias, all of that stuff down there. It's all going to be down there. There's a link tree with links to all of that stuff. Merch store, merch link is in the bio. You can get a shirt like this on Order WB Police Academy. You can get
Look
a hat
at you
like this.
getting orange.
Yeah, you can get a hat like this. It says "Fake Cops, Real Pro Wrestling." You can get a "Scan My Boob" shirt like DA Fabe has right over there. Right? You can get a Links in the Doobly-Doo shirt like JLB has, but he's not wearing.
You can't get Fila. Unfortunately, we don't have any rights to Fila. But yes, you can definitely get the
Hashtag
links
still
in the
not
video.
sponsored.
Yes.
Apparently, we're sponsored by G Unit because clearly, right at the bottom.
Right at the bottom. It's only hidden because I had that up. G Unit.
Just notice that. I'm like, you are such a white man. G Unit.
G Unit. Anyways, but you can follow us on the social media. You can follow me at Raw and Order WBU. It's right there on the screen there. That's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can find me there on that. You can follow DA Fabe at
DA Vincent K. Fabe.
and
And I
course,
do post sometimes.
occasionally. Yeah. You can follow JLB at
JLB420 is on Twitter. Real Talk Radio, though, is the brand as always. And that's at Real Talk Radio 8, anchor.fm/RTR. Just some good time. We talk a little bit about everything. Mostly, I'm just going crazy on movie reviews at the moment. But if there's something you want to hear, something you want to talk about, conversation with strangers is a thing where I just, we just talk about life, and if I don't really know you, it's fine. It allows me to and everyone to hear what you go through in life, sort of ordeal. So I think that's kind of interesting and whatnot. But yeah, Real Talk Radio, anchor.fm. Check it out. See what you like, see what you don't, and that is it. JLB out.
You mentioning movie reviews, I do have to have one more commendation because that reminded me. Commendation to John Cena for Suicide Squad, because he was hilarious in that.
Oh, really? Haven't watched it yet.
You need to watch it.
Yeah.
It's actually
This
a
is
fun
like-
movie all around.
This is the new one, right?
The newest one, yeah. The new one,
Okay.
yeah.
I watched
fun-
old.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's a fun movie all around, and everything. But John Cena as the Peacemaker, the whole concept of it is he believes in America so much that he's willing to kill for America. And there's a scene where why don't you eat a bag of dicks, and he's like, listen, if that entire beach was covered in dicks and I had to eat every single one of them to save America, I would chow down on each and every dick I could. And it's really a funny movie. Yeah, and I was kind of worried when they announced that they were doing a TV show based on his character, that I was like, oh, this is just a weird shameless cash grab. But he is so entertaining in the movie that I'm now looking forward to the Peacemaker TV show. So, but on that note, we are going to wrap things up and close the book on the wrestling booking unit. If you joined us on the live stream, thank you. If you're watching this on replay or listening to it on anchor.fm, welcome. Thanks for joining us there, but we will see you soon.